So for the 7-step developer roadmap, this is what we're going to cover right now in detail. Number 1 is going to be finding the land. Number 2 is going to be the numbers and making sure the deal pencils. Number 3 is the building plans that you choose. Number 4 is getting those building plans permitted in your local jurisdiction. Number 5 is financing, making sure that you can get the loan in place to build it. Number 6 is the construction process. So many people get overwhelmed. They're like, I don't know how to build a house. I don't know how to do framing. I don't know how to do all this stuff. But guys, there's 5 other steps before construction. Construction is actually the easy part, especially if you have no experience and you hire a builder. And then number 7 is the sale or moving into the home, the final punch list and things like that.
And guys, real quick, so again, primary residence loan, we're gonna cover it in step number 5. Remember, it's a primary residence construction to perm loan. And please, as I said, please be focused. These 7 steps is what we use. It's what our students have used to do the 271 doors. It's a key factor. We're gonna run through all these 7 steps. We're gonna make sure that you guys have everything that you need to be successful. Let's jump into it. So step number 1. Step number 1, obviously you gotta identify the lot. You gotta know what you're looking at. So the first step is step number 1, and it's gonna be on market. There's on market and there's off market. 70 to 80% of what we do is off market. There's only 20% that's on the MLS. So when somebody says, man, there's not enough land, I don't find any deals, nothing on the MLS is there, anything that's a good deal, it flies off the shelf. Keep in mind, less than 2% of America has been developed, meaning there's 98% of land. The problem isn't the land, there's a surplus of land. The problem is understanding how to find it off market. So on market, to give you an example, what does that feel like? I was in the auto industry, I can relate to it. So if I want to buy a truck, let's say a Ford F-150, and I go to Facebook Marketplace and they're all selling for $30,000. I'm looking, and $30,000 is what they're worth. And then one pops up for $25,000. I message him, hey, can I come look at it? I want to come buy it. And I finally get his number. I call him, hey, I'd love to come take a look at this F-150. It looks like a pretty decent price. And he goes, haha, nice try. You're the 8th person in line. That's how the MLS is. When it's a good deal, it's like a bunch of sharks jumping on it. The off-market side of things, I love this game. It's just me and a seller. We're negotiating. I don't have to close in 2 weeks all cash. I've done 1-year contracts. I've done 6-month contracts. This off-market game is so powerful. It's the one big reason why we scale to 250 doors. I have a development deal under contract on a 3-year contract. You might say, well, what if they go and sell it to someone else? They can't. I recorded a memorandum of contract on the title. They cannot sell it without me being notified and me signing off on it. So this off-market game is absolutely powerful, understanding it. And I would say the next key is underwriting it and just going through like 20 to 50 off-market analysis, like underwrite the deal, make sure it makes sense, make sure it pencils, so that you understand and you're familiar with it. And then you can understand, oh, that's a good deal and that's not a good deal. So the money is in the buy. You make profit on the land. Two builders next door, one paid 200, one paid 400 for the land, but they built for the same price. So the land is where the profit is made. Any thoughts on this before we jump to step 2?
No, this is good.
All right, hit it.
So for step number 2, running the numbers, so many people make it more complicated than it needs to be. Very, very simple. The formula is final sales price minus your total cost, which is the construction plus the land, equals your gross profit. If you memorize that formula, underwriting gets very, very easy. What I want you to do when underwriting any deal on that you're looking at is I want you to reverse engineer. What does that look like? Well, I'm going to look up comparables. I'm going to see what's selling. I'm going to see how many bedrooms it has. I'm going to see how many bathrooms, the square footage, the lot size. And I look at what I want to build, put that final sales price in there, and then calculate the cost based on that. Arthur mentioned to you that roughly we're on average of 100 up to 175 per square foot. You can multiply that by your square footage in your local area. It depends on which area you're in, and you can calculate the cost of construction. So we know the final sales price. We know the construction cost. We know what land should cost based on the formula we told you guys earlier. Does the ROI meet the minimum 20%, better 25% target for safety? And can we move forward on this deal? And then typically for leverage, we're looking at a minimum 100% cash on cash return specifically on our loan and our down payment to see if we can grow our money at a good enough pace to justify the time that we're in the deal. Does that make sense, everybody?
So real quick, do you think you can get a 50% discount on the build cost? No. Do you think you can increase the price from $1 million to $1.5 million on the sale price if everything's selling for $1 million? No. But can you get a lot that's worth $250,000 for $150,000? Yes. Your money is made in underwriting the deal, making sure it pencils, and knowing that your money isn't actually the buy. Before you ever even break ground, you know you're in a profitable state. So number 3 is going to be plans and design. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just do what's already working. That's the biggest key factor. Understanding, okay, if everybody's been building a single family home here, I could see what they're paying for the land. This is what I should be doing. I don't need to go build a 3.5 story or a 4 story or 5 story with a rooftop if everyone's already building the single family. The way that I build my projects is I look at the data. What already happened? That's what I'm gonna do. That's how I choose my product. Then I go, okay, what can I do differently? What's that unique factor that I'll sell faster than everybody else? And that's the way that you can move in markets and be the first to sell, be the best price. And I always underwrite, make sure I'm not the highest price. My performer still pencils, great. I list higher, sometimes I sell higher, and I end up making a bigger profit. And then I'm unique when it comes to design. So when it comes to this game, I mentioned earlier, drafter versus architect. You want to work with a drafter, they'll charge you $1 a square foot. An architect charges you $2 to $3 a square foot. When do you actually need an architect? When you're doing 5 or more units or you're doing commercial. That's where their specialty is. But to build a single family home or to build a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, any drafter that has experience, that has done drafting and has submitted building permits for approval and works with different spec builders, they're usually your guy and they're gonna save you a lot of money. I'm telling you, we have dozens and dozens of drafters that are at about $1 a square foot. All right, so you're the coordinator, you're not the designer. You have the specialty in the team and the experience that's doing this work. I don't know how to draft up plans myself. I just know how to choose the right product, underwrite it, make sure it pencils, and then bring the team in and they start moving the project forward. Any thoughts here? Great.
No, this is pretty simple stuff. Guys, permits are very, very simple. You need to look at it as a to-do or a checklist. Usually there's a permit submittal checklist that you can download for free from your local city, your local county. And then once you have all of the required documents like the site plan and the floor plans and the cross sections, the engineering pages, the energy worksheets if you have some, you submit all of that to the county or the city. They're gonna review it usually typically 1 week or 2 weeks. And then you get those corrections back and you fix them and you resubmit. If you treat this kind of as a checklist or a checkpoint, pass the baton back and forth, and you make sure that you hit the deadlines as fast as possible, you will get your permits approved. It's just a matter of time of how long and how fast you can get them approved, how quickly you can fix the corrections.
So in this game, what this looks like is literally adult babysitting. This is where the construction process starts. So what you're doing is you're just making sure everybody's hitting their dates. The way that I do it, I've got my plans up right now. I'm doing a $1.2 million spec. I got my plans designed. I went back and forth. They've done it. Now the engineer is doing it. I'm getting a date from the engineer. Hey, can you get it done? Yes, by this date. Boom. I'm checking in on that date. Then when they're going to submit for permits, I even ask the city to make sure they're doing their job, or county depending on your jurisdiction. They submit. The architect says, yeah, I put the plans in. I email the county. Hey, address 123 Main Street. Can you verify you got the plans from my architect? They'll respond 2 things. Never seen an email, never seen your plans, or hey, it was never uploaded to the portal. They like portals nowadays. So I'll go back to my architect. Hey, it was never uploaded. What happened? You're just playing that coordination game, and that's how you can have speed. And so our permits in our town, sometimes we'll get them in 45 days to 60 days. Most of our builders, it's taking them 3 to 5 months to get this done. So that's how quick we are, and that's the advantage that we have. All right, go ahead, Ruben.
So for financing, guys, the lender is your silent partner. Because at the end of the day, when you look at how much interest you pay, how much closing points you have, and what the actual loan costs you, it is a significant amount. So it's important to pick the right, per se, silent partner. You want to make sure to get a loan that is on draw. The technical term for this is full Dutch or non-Dutch or maybe partial. And so you want to really make sure that you're getting a on draw, so non-Dutch interest. So as you take $100,000 from your $600,000 construction loan, you only get charged interest on the $100,000. This lowers your average effective interest rate by the end of the course of construction to 5 to 7%, and the holding costs or the interest costs are very minimal compared to somebody who charges you 12% interest day one on the full $600,000, and it makes a really big difference in the end. The down payment for a personal house is anywhere from 5 to 10%. One common...
I hope by now they know that. We're just not. So I hope you guys are getting this and you're remembering this. But the thing is, the more that you repeat it, the more that I think it'll stick. So go ahead, keep going, Ruben.
And then the 5% down for the personal side, the common pushback that I get is, well, I don't have the GC experience. I haven't built 10 houses. I haven't built 5 houses. It's simple. You hire a GC for a 5 to 10% fee. Sometimes some GCs will put their license on the line, a non-recourse loan. They'll sign a completion guarantee. They'll let you build it yourself, or you can hire a builder and you can get exposed to all their systems, markets, schedules, everything. Pay the 10 to 15% builder fee. Absolutely worth it to do it at least one time, and you can get that loan, not a problem. We've been able to do it multiple times over with zero hiccups. Investment loan. So typically what we recommend is building one personal house, 5% down, and then if you have the capital and if you have the drive, you can get an investment loan, which is not based on your income. It's based on the deal. It's based on the asset. You could put 10 to 15% down, and you could be building multiple houses in the first year if you wanted to. You could also bring on investors. They bring the down payment, you bring the deal, and you run the entire process. That's essentially what Arthur does. He's a real estate developer. And so that's the entire process specifically for the financing side, either the personal house loan or the investment. What you're going to need to bring to these lenders is the full deal package. It's going to be your comparables, what you think the home will sell for. This determines their risk tolerance, your budget. So this is your, let's just say $150 per square foot times 2,000 square feet budget divided by an itemized. What will foundation cost? What will excavation cost? What will framing cost? What will plumbing cost? What will HVAC cost? So on and so forth. And then your pro forma, which is your numbers that you did in number 2. What's the land price? What's the build price? What's the actual sale price? What's the ROI? They want to see that to know that you're competent enough to do this deal.
All right, guys. To summarize all this, just so you guys understand, how is the personal house game 5%? Very simple. Your credit and your income. The reason it's 5% down is it's not how good is the deal, it's how qualified are you as the person borrowing. So just for you guys to understand, if you're pre-approved to buy a house, build one. So if you got a pre-approval for 500 grand, you can go build a house for 500 grand that's gonna be worth 25% more. 100% go that route. If you're someone that's like, well, I don't want a personal house, I don't need it, or you're just not qualified, income and all that, no problem. Jump to the investment side. I do all my projects with hard money loans if it's not my personal house and if it's not a rental property. So all my projects that are active, I go hard money, not traditional financing. There's just way too many hoops to jump through, and it's only gonna save you a few $1,000s. Hard money is amazing. There are really good lenders that give you really good rates. This one is 100% all about the deal. It's not about how much do you make. They don't ask for your taxes. They don't ask for anything from the hard money lending side. All they ask for, is it a good deal? Does it have at least the margin that we want it to have? And who's the person borrowing? And what's great is we have a team. As Build Up, we're the team together. That's why our students are doing the 271 doors together alongside with us. Step number 6 is the construction side of things. As a developer, I don't have to be at the site at all, but I do. I stop by the site once a week. I go take a look at it. I see what's happening because I'm going from the perspective of the buyer. If I'm a buyer and I walk this property and I'm like, man, I really don't like this, or I don't like that this neighbor's house is there, so I'm gonna put some arborvitae or some trees. As a developer, I have the perspective of the end buyers, so I stop by once a week. As it's being built out, I might catch a few small things like, hey, this doesn't look really right, like from a perspective of a retail buyer. I'm not a builder. I don't know the details. I don't even know if they put the beams and all that correctly. I have no clue. I have a builder in place to do that, and I have the inspector to verify the builder did it right, and then I have my bank inspector who's going to verify that everything was done properly and correctly. So I've got 3 different forms of verification, so I'm comfortable that the house is being built, and then the GC provides a warranty. As a builder, you want to just jump into the builder side?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
As a builder, guys, the process is very laid out. So what I usually provide my students inside a build-up community and all my mentorship clients is like give them a full visual Gantt schedule. What that literally shows them is, hey, you need to start planning out the survey. Here's how I find the surveyor. Here's when you need to start foundation. Here's when you stake it out. Here's how many days you should spend on foundation. Here's the scope of work that the subcontractor should include. Here's framing. What do you need to look out for in framing? What hold downs do you need to look out for? What is important to know on the plan? How long should framing take? When to pay a deposit, when to not pay a deposit, when to avoid paying a subcontractor. Did they do this checklist? I have a detailed Gantt schedule that lays it all out.
That's why I'm not a builder.
So that's what I would provide to my students that want to build their own home. However, like Arthur is saying, you can hire a builder like me. We have plenty of builders inside a build-up community across the entire nation that do all of this process for you.
And real quick, guys, if there's new construction activity happening in your town, there are spec builders that are building to make a profit. If you're in the middle of nowhere and there is no new construction and houses are $5,000-$10,000 a piece, sure, there is no builders there. But if you go to Redfin or Zillow, you put 2024 or newer, and there's new construction activity, guaranteed there are builders out there building to make a profit. Builder fee side, I love locking in that builder fee. First, we build out the budget. We agree, let's just say the budget's $400,000. Me and the builder agree to a 10% fee. That's $40,000. I don't keep it a percentage. That's how we set the fee. Then we go, okay, the flat fee is gonna be a $40K builder fee, and you can set up incentives. If you finish it, for some reason they go slightly over budget, you have a contingency, it might be a $30,000 fee. If they go under budget, it might be a $50,000 fee. There's ways to make sure and incentivize the builder so that they do a great job, and both of you are winning. The builder does great by being active, having the active income, and the developer's doing great because they don't need to know everything about building. So the last thing I will say about building, and a lot of people would disagree with this or say like, oh, that's not possible. They may be a fix and flipper or they might be in a different game. You never, ever give a deposit and you never pay ahead when it's new construction. Why? It's a predictable game. It's quick. It's easy. And the subs that do new construction understand that. The ones that are bad subs or the ones that always use that for cash flow because they're not doing too well will ask for a deposit. You don't pay a deposit. If you need to pay for something ahead, the only things I pay ahead are jurisdictions, permit fees, anything like that, I will pay ahead. If it's anyone that's a supplier or non-government, I will pay with a credit card because I have the protection from the credit card. But if you pay a deposit for somebody that's gonna do the flat work and they run away or disappear, you have zero leverage. You just lost your money. So we simply don't. We've paid over 250 doors and we don't pay deposits. If we do pay something, it's via credit card. If it's for tile or something, you can go to a store, pay for it, and then get reimbursed through the loan. And after 30 days, you pay off your credit card. You're not actually putting money out of your pocket, and you're protecting yourself with all of the credit card, what do you call it? Fraud prevention or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Something
exactly.
like that.
That's why I love credit cards, is because if it's an issue, you can always submit a claim.
Yep. And so in the construction phase as a developer, I spend about 3 hours a week. But that's because I like to go visit the sites. Otherwise, you don't actually have to do that. If you're like, well, I don't know how to design, I don't know finishes. Oh, really easy. Hey, builder, can you send me 5 projects you did? Oh, here's 5 links. I like this one. Just copy everything on that one, all the paint colors, everything. Great. Now you're a designer. Anything else on construction? Adult babysitter. I think you knocked that one out. You're an adult babysitter. And step number 7, go for it, Ruben.
The biggest thing that I can tell you for selling your home is, unfortunately, please don't use your mother, brother, sister, cousin, brother-in-law, father-in-law, just to help them out on the real estate commission. Because guys, the statistics are pretty sad for real estate agents. Actually, you know them off the top of your head. I'm not gonna make
90% of agents, 90% of agents that have a license don't do a single deal in a year. If you take the 5-year span, 90% don't do a deal every single year. Out of the 90% that don't, there's only 10% left. Of the 10%, let's say 100 people. Out of 100 people, 10 of them do a deal per year at least. Out of those 10 people, about 2 of them do almost all of the volume. So if 1,000 homes sold, 800 of them was by 2 people. The rest of them do 1 to 2 deals. What does that mean? A real estate agent that is not an expert. Just because you passed your test does not mean you're good. The experience speaks for itself. Usually I'm telling the agent what to do, sadly. I only like to work with the agents that know what they're doing, and you will know right away, and that's where it starts to work. So what I will say, as Ruben's saying, hire someone that has experience, that has closed deals, and preferably someone that specializes in new construction because they have a really big network of buyers that want new construction. Go ahead. You want to break down the 3 strategies or the hybrid? I love these games.
Yeah, so path number A, once you have that real estate agent, you can sell for a profit immediately, post it for sale. Hopefully, like Arthur said, a specialized agent in new construction, it helps you a lot with repair addendums, going through the special disclosures that you need and all those different things. Number 2, you have force created your equity because you built it for less than what it's worth. You can hold it, refinance it, keep it for long-term cash flow if you wanted to. You could also eventually cost segregate, so accelerate the depreciation, have more to write off and keep more houses, roll them over into the next homes. Number 3, you could move into it, live in there, and live there for 2 years. If you're single, 250K of tax-free profit after 2 years. If you're married, 500 grand of tax-free profit. I don't know a single person that bought a home on the market and it grew in 2 years, $500,000 of profit. Impossible. The only way you can do that is probably through either a massive addition that adds value to the home, or a new construction, or some insane remodel where you're doing an addition anyway, and the numbers on the square footage or the bedroom bathroom count or the lot size change so much that the value goes up enough for you to get that 500K of tax-free profit.
So what I would say with that is natural appreciation in 2 years will never be the 500,000. I just can't see it happening. But forced appreciation, you can get to that $500,000 mark. I would say average 1 to 300K, right?
Yeah.
My house 300, yours was 250. 1 to 300K, but you can get there because you're forcing the value. You're creating the value. You're essentially making that happen. So these 3 options, option A, B, or C, and then there's a hybrid where, like, build yourself a personal house, have some investment homes. Let's say you do an 8-unit project where it's 8 single family homes. You keep 2 for yourself as rentals. You sell off the other 6. If you're a real estate professional, you can reduce your taxes significantly. But this is why I love this game. Like, there is so much you can do. There is so much out there. So the complete 7-step process, this is it right here. If you need to take a quick screenshot, you find your lot, then you underwrite, plans and design, permitting, financing, construction, and sale. You don't have to be an expert in all 7. All you actually have to focus on is understanding how to find deals, understanding how to underwrite them and build the team, and the rest is history.
If you're ready to do your first build and you want our team in your corner, click the link in the description below and book a call. We'll put together your game plan. And like, share, subscribe. As always, let's build up and go crush it out there.